Wait. All right. Hello. It's nice to see you. Welcome. And you are welcome to enjoy this podcast to its fullest. I've got a great lineup of guests this evening. I got to do that again. I've got a great lineup of guests this evening. It's going to be a good time. So without further ado, let's drop right into this one. Wait, hold on. This is great, Tyler.
All right, here we go. Crushing this.
So without further ado. Without further ado. I kind of like that the first time. Let's drop right into this.
In a world where chains are music to our ears and discs conquer the skies, one podcast dares to delve into the creative minds of disc golf content creators. Get ready for an adventure full of unforgettable stories and content mastery. Welcome to the Overly Edited Podcast.
Today's guest is the CEO of comedy and the SEO of marketing for DGA. You may have seen his glorious noggin spread across the interwebs, spewing many humorful moments, but today we will get an inside look at what makes this man TikTok, and we'll probably get his TikTok username by the end of tonight. So let's get into our first segment.
Introducing.
All right. Introducing Tyler Brickley. Tyler,
Hello.
welcome to the show.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Stop reading the script.
What are you thinking? What went on in your head when you put all this work? Because I saw the intro and the scenes and the narrator that you got.
And all this stuff.
It's all like so well produced. And
I got the guy.
Language, but what the heck were you thinking when you booked your first guest? Do you want this show to go or not?
Dude, let me tell you, you are a very carefully picked first guest, and it's because you're my best friend. I mean, we're best friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I did forget that.
We
that
were
was
at one point best Rocket League friends. So
yep.
Never forget that. For those of you who didn't understand my intro for Tyler, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm one of those. So could you? I have to.
Listen, I try to make it straightforward, but alas, I'm going to let you talk about what you do and also tell us a little bit about, would you consider yourself a content creator? I'll let you get into that.
Man, how many hours do we have? What's each episode going to be? What do you think? 20 minutes, 2 hours?
30 minutes to 45 minutes.
All right.
Oh,
well, I'll start when I was 4.
Yep.
In this episode, we'll just go from 4 to 16. And then maybe you could have me back on and we could cover then 17 to 35.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Accepted. I accept these terms and conditions.
That's not going to work. Love the intro. And I balk at being the CEO of humor.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm pretty sure that's like Wikipedia facts right there.
Yeah. You just Google it. I'll accept being the search engine optimization of DGA disc golf. Mm-hmm. That I am totally okay with.
Yeah, I didn't know what SEO was. It sounded really cool.
What's your CTR on the content you make? Is your ROI good in the fiscal year or?
For sure. All that stuff.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I make content. Here's the thing. I'm going to save that. I'm going to put a pin in that question. Do you consider yourself a content creator? Because we're going to get more into that in a future segment, if that's okay. But I do make a lot of content for DGA and other things.
And it's funny. A lot of it. I wondered the amount of people that are going to watch this podcast. First off, it's probably not going to be a lot. But
7?
Second, how many people know of you already? Or maybe they see your face and they're like, I swear I've seen this guy for sure. I know some people definitely know you. And then I know there's going to be a big group of people that are going to be like, yeah, I know this guy's funny, and I don't know why I know that. But it's because you're Tyler Brickley and you're funny and DGA and marketing and stuff. So
Yeah. There's this third group, which is just going to be a massive eye roll. The big eye roll group,
I don't know about that.
Oh,
maybe.
freaking love this guy again. And they're going to be like, I was so looking forward to the Overthrows podcast.
Listen, we both got the eye roll group. Me and you. Wait, me and you is what I just, me and you.
You pointed to me twice.
Yeah,
me
I don't
and
know.
you both
crazy.
have haters.
Exactly.
There's some content. That's a great idea. Let's round up the haters and let's interview them. Let's get them in a big round table and let's
100%.
That would just be the best night of my life.
I think I can get a decent amount of people in these things too. I mean, that would be fun.
Yep.
We could make fun if their video setup doesn't look as good as ours. We can be like, oh yeah, well, you're not even valid. Look at your video setup. You can't have an opinion.
None of you.
Yeah. Where's
valid.
the background LEDs? I don't think so.
Yeah. Pulsing LEDs much? Get good,
exactly.
bro.
That's right.
Sorry,
Don't get distracted
That's a
by my
future segment.
pulsing LEDs in the back.
I'm not comfortable with the word pulsing. Just, I don't know if you guys do, feeling out with your guests, but let's just not say the word pulsing anymore.
Isn't that there's a disc golf company. It's like Pulse Disc Golf Academy or something like that.
Pulsea?
That's what it is.
Pulsea Disc Golf Academy. But, it's Pulse A Disc Golf Academy. And Avery, if you're watching this, would you give me a call? We have to talk about putting a dash in the URL or something.
Put a dash in it.
Just having the A right after Pulse. I was saying
Pulsea.
Pulsea sounds kind of cool, though, too.
It's not bad. The way you say it, I'm down with it, but just, well, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with Pulse until you said something about it, be honest.
It's their website is pulsea.com, right? Because it's Pulse A Academy. That's their thing. Pulse A Academy.
Oh, I see.
So, but it's Pulse A without a dash or anything. So it just looks like one word, Pulsea.
Cancel them and then uncancel them when they add the dash.
We are coming out hot with the first episode of the OTB. We have targeted one other organization, which was only trying to like grow the sport and help people get better at the game.
Sure.
We've already decided they're going down.
Yeah, but my feelings are more important, Tyler, for sure.
Until a hyphen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Add the hyphen. Hey, let's get into the second segment.
Oh, man.
In the big.
You may have heard in disc golf, in the bag. Of course, we all know what an in the bag is, but do you know what's in Tyler Brickley's camera bag? And that's what we're going to find out today. So we're going to figure out, do you even have a camera bag, first off?
I was going to say, okay, I can do this, though.
Yes.
What I have is a business travel backpack.
Yeah, that's your bag, bro.
Okay. So
yeah, that's the one.
One of those cool like camera bags with the compartments and whatever. Well, it's kind of a laptop bag that I just sort of throw everything into.
I mean, it's got pockets.
And that is symbolism for every other thing that we're going to talk about tonight when it comes to my professional career.
Okay.
Not really like legit, just kind of thrown together, but works.
What camera are you using? Like, tell me some of the stuff that you use as far as your gear. And then let's talk about a camera gear purchase that you were like, yeah, that was not the move. Because I got a few of those too. But I don't know if you have those. Maybe you like every purchase that you've and you're very careful with each purchase.
That's a fantastic question, Michael. Thank you so much for that.
It's really thought through. I definitely didn't just come up with it right now.
I have the Panasonic GH5.
It's classic.
Which is a DSLR. It's a micro four thirds camera. So I have the Metabones speed booster to give me a little bit better aspect ratio. Sorry, a little bit more full frame. It's not full frame,
aperture,
but it opens it up a little bit. And then I have the Tamron 24 to 70 millimeter art lens that I have on the speed booster. And that is pretty much the main thing that I use. I don't even have any other lenses. I used to have the Canon, like the beautiful, like 70 to 300 or sorry, 70 to 200 IS2 or whatever it was.
Photography for sure.
Great for photography. And you could set up the most killer like interview shots with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just too much to carry around, and to set up every time was a huge pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I started realizing that I only use this one variable focal length lens for almost every shoot. So when it came time to buy my own equipment later, I have not invested in a wide angle or a telephoto lens. I only have the 24 to 70 on my GH5.
Which is...
Yes?
What? I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
This camera... What? No, you go. No. Well, this... no, please. Now...
I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm lagging out.
Now, my webcam here is a Sony. Okay, are you ready for all the letters and numbers?
You have a Sony webcam?
I know, it's a little overkill, but
gosh.
I'm so insecure about being the first guest on the Overly Edited podcast that I really had to do something.
Okay.
I had to do something.
Go ahead, tell me about it. What's the Sony webcam?
It's not. I'm using the Sony HXR NX80.
Good gosh.
As a webcam.
And I'm a Sony guy, dude. I still don't know what that is.
It's the one Ezra Aderhold was using. I saw him out on the course with it. I'm like, hey, that's my camera. It's just a camcorder, basically.
Okay, yeah, camcorder. That's why. That's out of my ballpark. I'm like, I don't do that.
So me too, as of about 3 years ago. But when I got into disc golf, it was pretty quick that I was able to see like, okay, I'm going to need something with a long, steady, smooth zoom if I'm going to be tracking disc golf shots.
For sure. Yep.
So I use that for when we need to film like practice rounds or, disc flight videos, things of that nature. But
absolutely.
Monday to Friday, it just sits here behind my desk, and I use it as this webcam that makes people, when they call me, like, oh, your webcam looks incredible. What do you have as a webcam?
Your webcam, Tyler. It's amazing.
Webcam. Yeah, well,
look at that quality. So if someone's new getting into like disc golf content, and let's just say generally from your experience, what would you tell them? Hey, this would be a good beginner setup, right?
Yep.
What's your take on that?
Great question. It's going to lead me into two untalked about areas so far. And the first one that we don't even need to talk about too much is I would probably recommend to them the third camera that I use now, competing maybe half as much as I use either of those other two, which is my phone.
Yep. So good.
And these days, if somebody's starting out filming disc golf content, I would encourage them, above anything, think about your content and what you're doing and what you want to say. Think about that first and use your phone for a while. And then if people are interested in what content you have and what you're saying, then you can branch into one of these two veins, probably depending on what you're going to be filming. Overthrow Disc Golf, not camcord people, and they have the most successful disc golf YouTube channel out of the top 17 to 23 YouTube channels. Like in that range, they have the most successful one.
Within that range, definitely have some success.
Just using, not using like Sony FS7s or whatever to with all these long zooms. Mikey makes it work with a DSLR, which, so phone first and foremost with big emphasis on content. And then depending on whether you're going to do a ton of stuff where you want to film somebody else and get long, beautiful flights of the disc, or if you want to set up commercial looking shots of like a person, you might go more down the DSLR route.
Yeah. I actually just talked to a guy that was looking for advice for, starting Instagram content and stuff. And he immediately thought, what camera should I get? And I immediately said, do you have an iPhone? And he's like, well, yeah, I've got my iPhone. He showed me. I was like, dude, you don't actually want to use for like on Instagram, you don't want to use a nice camera because someone will think you've got an ad or something that you're trying to sell them if you use a nice camera.
That's so true.
No, seriously, it's like if you see some really high quality stuff, unless it's like a clip of a YouTube video, and we all know like that does work in like short clips of YouTube videos, and you can kind of tell the quality there. But if someone just straight up uses a nice camera on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, I'm always like, oh, that's probably an ad, and I just skip it. I kind of look for that iPhone quality.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And in the business world, in marketing, I learned a while ago that some of our best looking, highest produced videos perform to the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And the just shaky iPhone sounds terrible. You know, those perform the best. And I think there's a credibility threshold that you have to cross when you're presenting somebody with something that's really well produced. Mm-hmm. Where exactly like what you just said, they're like, okay, somebody's put thousands of dollars and a lot of time into what they're showing me, so I innately don't trust it.
Right.
You know?
Or it's just not relatable on that platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's as soon as you see that, you're like, oh, that's a little produced for my scrolling through TikTok. Because when you're going through TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, you're looking for relatable content, stuff that you feel like someone just picked up their camera and they just like film something, or you get accustomed to a certain look and a certain quality with that type of stuff.
Well, and here's another thing that I did on a TikTok channel that I'm running. Can I plug the Kindness Mob?
Oh, for sure, dude. I was literally going to have you do that. I don't know if you remember in the beginning.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to his TikTok account. What makes me TikTok right now is a group called the Kindness Mob. I did a specific test where almost every day I'm recording a video, right? It's just me to the camera. So it's the standard interview shot. It's just head and shoulders. And I'm saying, hey, let's go. And people nominate videos and we go to this other video and everybody just leaves hundreds of nice comments and they all do it anonymously. It's like the most wholesome, satisfying thing ever.
I was going to say, that's just like the best thing ever.
It's been so fun for me. I mean, I do it selfishly because like I get the most out of it than anyone, but please go look it up if you're on TikTok. So cinematic mode on my phone for 3 months, every single day I'm recording these. And then one day I wanted to test it. It's just been in the back of my mind. Would these videos perform better if I set it up and did the whole thing? So I kid you not, I spent 1 hour doing the setup and then the recording and then maybe another half hour or so to get it onto my computer, to edit it down, back onto my phone, to post it to TikTok. And it was one of the worst performing videos that month. Mm-hmm. You'll probably see it if you scroll down a little bit on my account. If you're looking for it, you can tell. But if you're not looking for it, no idea. Mm-hmm. So my big takeaway from that is, why would I spend 300% more time and effort doing something that doesn't make a bit of difference in the result of a video?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I had the same experience. Actually, I did decently well on TikTok, and I basically just, at some point I was like, well, I don't want to do TikTok anymore. Like I did really well. And I remember every time I really wanted to pull out my nice camera when I got it. And anytime I made anything with my nice camera, it completely flopped. Anything that I did. It didn't matter if it was, really funny, or it just didn't matter. And I remember thinking to myself, like, that's just so dumb. Why don't people watch this? It's way better than my normal content. And in my brain, I'm putting quality of the look of the video higher than the actual content itself. So,
yeah,
we're definitely on the same page when it comes to that. And I think,
what
video,
I want to hear what you think.
Well, actually, I forgot. That's funny. I was like, oh, I had it. And it's gone. Welcome to my brain, Tyler. All right, so I hope you remember what you were going to say, because I have no clue what I was about to say.
Not at all. No, I do. I wanted to stress that the reason the cinematic mode on my phone, looks good, a lot of it is lighting. So I don't ever downplay lighting and audio when I'm telling that new person, like, hey, I'm trying to get into filming stuff, you just need your phone. But I will always, advise them on some lighting basics, even if it's just near a natural light source in your house, like a big window. But for sure, if you can get a light and can get a mic for your phone or whatever, lighting and audio are one of those things that are just as important as video quality. And people tend to not even they think only about the camera and not about the other two things that make a great video.
That is so true. Yeah, that's like 80% of a good looking shot. Like you could replace my current setup right now with an iPhone in this exact same spot, and it would look pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And it has everything to do with the light that I have, and it would sound really good because of this microphone right here. So,
yep.
And, some people actually don't even realize to get good audio, all you need is any microphone close to your mouth, right? It can be your phone and just anything that proximity-wise is close and not far away. As soon as I get further back from here, all of a sudden my mic quality is not good anymore. And I get up closer and it sounds good. So that's very much something that I try to get people to do as well. Look at that little guy.
I have the Sennheiser MKE 600 $350 microphone or something. I can't remember. It's a long time ago that I bought this. One of the just most beautiful shotgun mics on the market, and very reasonably priced for the quality that you get from it. And I have tried it in lots of situations like podcast recording where it just screwed up everything. This microphone right here is off-brand from Amazon, and it's $50.
Exactly. And
it's been the best thing. Yeah, it's been. Just listen to
how
sound.
it sounds.
Do you hear this?
I hear it, Tyler.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
But I can't. I've recommended this microphone to so many people over. I would love to have the Shure. Is that what you have? The Shure SM?
No, it's a Beacon, and it's a USB mic, and it's like BEACN is the company. It reminds me of
the Shure. What is
Beacon.
that? The Shure SM.
Shure SM7B.
7B.
Yep.
Shure SM7B.
That
I'd love to have that.
That's kind of what this is supposed to look like.
It does. I thought it was because it does.
Yeah, it's
fit the profile
exactly, but it's got this LED. Got this LED on it.
Ah!
Oh, don't look at my. There we go.
Don't look at me. I'm hitting.
Don't look at me. Not my face. Let's actually hop in, drop in, bop in to the third segment.
Behind the edit.
Tyler, I want you to talk a little bit about your editing process with probably, I want to hear kind of about your storytelling through editing and not necessarily just the programs that you use. And perhaps if you have I've got all sorts of stuff I can tell people about now when it comes to like helpful video editing things now that AI exists. But what's your process of editing a video from start to finish?
Most of my videos at this point in my career start with a need. So it's something to promote, like we just launched our Avalanche today, right? And so, not sponsored, but I did a lot of content for it leading up to the launch, right? So then from there, I'm working backwards into, okay, how could I tell people about this cool disc in a fun way that hasn't been maybe done before?
Yeah.
Some of my videos, not as many as I would like, but a lot of them, and DGA does such a good job of like giving me the space. But some of my videos come from an idea, and those are my favorite ones. Because I have a lot of ideas. I've been making videos now for, to be completely honest, since I was 12. Like I had like my hands in our family camcorder and was pushing all the buttons when I was way too young. And then pretty soon I was the one filming all of our family events. And then I'm doing sketches with my cousins and every high school project, I don't know. You might have a similar
Yeah, very similar. Like my dad, he was kind of the instigator of all the video in our family. He videoed everything, home video, and then we would do like skits and stuff. If my mom was out of town, she'd come back and we'd have like a new video for her. And of course, he was rocking iMovie at the time. So, and I would watch him edit the videos, and I was just, I have 3 siblings, and we were, I think, at least a little bit interested, but I think I was the one that gravitated towards it.
Yep.
Well, me and my brother Timmy were both videographers.
So every job that I've ever had has been doing whatever I'm being paid to do for that job, but then I'm also making videos for the company. And so that has what's kind of led into my career. So at this point, and I know we don't have an hour, but I just can't stress the idea portion of it enough. There are so many disc golf commercials that I'm jealous of because they look and sound amazing. Like, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this or not, but the West Side King commercial, like, I think back on that and I have, it's such a mixed bag for me because that probably is in the top 10 in terms of the quality of the production. It's probably one of the top 10 disc golf videos ever made. And this is my opinion, not the opinion of DGA Disc Golf or any of its affiliates. I think it was a bad idea. And I think because of that, the video didn't have legs. Now, they've made a lot of other videos that did really well. So I'm sure they're not hurt by, me thinking one of their videos wasn't good. But there's so many examples, and I have several myself, of things that people have just put a lot of effort into that just weren't good ideas to begin with. And we have scrapped so many videos because of that one fact. And I'm so proud of us for doing that. There's so many videos where we're like, we could get, and this, and then that, and then they could be standing, and we could have, and then at the end of the day, you're just like, yeah, but I mean, think about that actually going out. Like, would anyone care?
Yeah, you think about like, if I were to watch this without being a part of it, how would I respond? I'm thinking that all the time now, which I didn't used to do. And it's like, would I actually watch this? And then when I'm honest with myself, I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I even thought about this podcast.
Yeah. Like, would you?
But, and then some things you just do for fun.
Yeah.
Because, and maybe it doesn't do well. And you're just like, hey, I need a creative outlet. And maybe it does become something and you have ideas later on. Yep. But no, I see what you're saying. Like, especially with a company and marketing, you don't really have too much of an option when it comes to that. Like, you probably should only put out the best ideas.
Well, we've had a couple good ideas that weren't produced in a very high way, or you know what I mean? Like, the production value behind them was much lower than some other things, but they went a lot further just on the strength of the idea. And I know it's like, it's so much easier said than done, right? Like, okay, that's breaking news. Tyler Brickley says, have good ideas.
No, that actually, like, that doesn't occur to most people and it didn't occur to me when I first started doing content. So
it's a step, right? It's a step like the idea, the script, the shot list, the filming, the editing, the release. Like, it's one of the 6 or 7 main steps, and it's the most important step because it's the first one, and it's what all subsequent steps are based off of.
Yeah, it's really all about the idea. And then depending on the execution of that idea will depend on if it does well. But if even, because it is both. It is like, idea is the most important part. And then what does that practically look like in the execution? And, if there's like bad acting and you have this idea and it requires like, some people to have those acting skills and it just doesn't pan out the way you thought it would, then it's not as good of a video just because of the execution. But yeah, if you don't have the idea, then no matter what you do, the execution won't fix it. So it's...
Can you clip that? Because that's the whole point right there. If your idea isn't solid, nothing that you can do after that will fix it. If you have a really good idea, the whole point in all the subsequent steps is just to do service to that. Basically, it's kind of that, like in golf, we talk about this, like it's theirs to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a huge lead in a tournament, and well, it's theirs to lose. Now, if they just do everything right, like they're going to win this event. So once you have the solid idea, the campaign is yours to lose at that point. Now just don't screw it up in all the subsequent steps, and it's going to be a winner.
Yeah. Yep. Couldn't agree more. Next segment.
Get good, bro.
Next segment. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to pick one thing in other people's content. Maybe it's a YouTuber you like, something that you would like to implement, something that you're not doing as much of that you would want to implement into your current video ideas.
Well, I'm not just sucking up, which...
Oh, you will not pick us, bro. You will not choose me.
Listen,
bro.
I said I'm not just. You got to be careful with that phrase. Have you ever noticed this when people say, I'm not just blowing smoke up your, yeah. I'm not just trying to rip you off. Like you actually should buy this car. Did you actually hear what they just said? Like it sounded like they said, I'm not trying to rip you off. But what they actually said was, not only am I trying to rip you off, I also think you should buy this car.
Yeah. So, but if they say, I just, like before, it's almost like, oh, whatever you say, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's important.
Like, I'm not just trying to say this. However.
Yeah, you got to listen to
I'll say it, you know what I mean?
It's like when people put the word actually into a compliment. Listen, this is free. Don't put actually in compliment, and don't trust people who say I'm not just. All right, so anyway, Mikey, I'm actually not just trying to suck up to you here, but Overthrow would be on my list of channels that I would like to do stuff more like you. And so if this is the Get Good segment and I can critique my own work, I would unashamedly admit that I am not a graphic designer. And I really wish that I spent more time on my projects backfilling fun, exciting graphics throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I don't. The other one was Jonathan with Latitude.
Oh, bro.
I believe I would be first in line, at the, like, Jonathan is the current best disc golf content creator. There's no competition,
bro.
There really isn't.
No, it's crazy. He's absolutely insane.
It's perfect. Like it's perfect YouTube specifically. It's perfect content.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to be able to make more of it. I'll tell you something candidly. Mm-hmm. I feel like if I could get better at graphics, and that was the main responsibility I had as my job, I feel like I could be a very successful content creator for us. Which, there you go. That's all the way back to square one. Do I consider myself a content creator? Not really. Definitely not primarily. I do make a lot of content, but I do so many other things for DGA. I don't think we've seen what it could be. Like if that was my only responsibility, I get kind of sad and excited at the same time thinking about what that could look like. Imagine weekly YouTube uploads from DGA that were very highly produced and always had, themes and scripts and a point. Love the thought of doing stuff like that. And maybe someday.
Yeah, well, just know that you are a content creator because you wouldn't be on the show otherwise. So, I mean, do I need to kick you off? Is that what you're saying?
Kinda, yeah.
No.
Been wondering
you definitely are, and you've been at it for a long time. You've had several different veins of content. I can't even remember. There was one I was following that it was like the puns. You were doing like TikTok puns. Of course, you do this all the time. So you're going to think about what? You're like, oh my gosh,
what are you
did them with a friend. It's like you jumped over jumping the gun.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Bro,
and I love
bro. You literally on TikTok, you have an account where you have these.
My personal account? or like DGA?
No, it's like a separate account. I don't know how I found it either.
Oh, you found my ghost account?
It might be. Am I outing your ghost account right now?
It's called Overbros, and it's basically like a hate account against everything Overthrow does. Oh, you haven't found that one?
No,
then never mind.
No,
never mind.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, you just talked about how much you liked our content.
More like
Tyler.
No, am I right, guys?
That's right. That's right. No, now I lost my train of thought again. Dang it.
I made a pun. I made a whole pun series.
Bro, for sure. Yeah. And do you not remember making a video where you literally, it's like, hey, guess this, like whatever. And it's like, guess this thing. And they would write in the comments what the like phrase was. Right.
Oh,
and so
yeah. That's so funny, dude. Because again,
finally.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah. It was called Visual Riddles.
That was the one. Visual Riddles. And I don't even know, that was probably pretty recent too, but it's just, I've seen you have all these ideas that you'll kind of stick with for a bit. And then I'll just find random content from forever ago that you've been in. And I feel like you've always had really good ideas for videos. And I'm always wondering, I watch your stuff, and we've talked about this before, like on Rocket League and stuff. Like I always wonder, like, why don't you have a bunch of followers? Like, I don't understand it.
I know. Yeah.
And you know, I'd like to be like, oh yeah, it's just the algorithm and stuff. But I know, like, it is audience at the end of the day. So it's just weird.
I think it's this thing on my nose.
Is it because
have you seen this?
It's because you
this little white thing.
That white thing on your nose, bro?
It's not a zit. It's like a really small mole, but it's discolored.
That's
I
why,
think that's
dude.
the only thing I can think of.
Oh my goodness.
Why we don't have.
I mean, is that, can you fix that? Like with surgery?
Like views just skyrocket. Just
can you
the second
fix that with like surgery? You know what? We're going to start a GoFundMe for this guy. Get this man.
Remove the blemish.
Like, we get a GoFundMe. It's like, hey, you should put makeup on that thing, man. Come on. Foundation.
It's one of the simultaneously like most like heartwarming and gut wrenching statements that I get all the time. And I truly mean that. Heartwarming and gut wrenching.
I get it. 100%.
Why don't you have more followers? I've always kind of felt like I will someday. And so to take advantage of the time, because I consume a ton of content, right? And a lot of my good ideas I would put against those good ideas. Now, obviously, I'm not a fantastic actor, and my video production and all that can increase a ton. But my ideas, like at their core, are as good or as funny as a lot of the content that I watch on a daily basis. So I'm like, I think that might come someday. And until then, I'll just continue trying to create and get better and kind of let that thing take care of itself. But I have said that now for 7 years. I generally don't get too upset about it, except for the greatest disc golf story ever told. Can I tell you, I have a personal grudge against the disc golf community because of that video. Because
the disc golf community, man,
virality is subjective, right? And what people want to like and share is up to them. And humor is subjective and creativity is subjective. So you never really know. But I'm in the back of my mind after that video came out, I'm like, no, everybody just got it wrong because I spent so much time working on that. And it was literally when I say that, quite literally mind numbing. After we finally finished recording that video, which if you don't know, I recorded a video. Well, I've done two now, but I recorded one, the first one, where I said over 110 disc golfers' names in one take. It was like a 3.5, 4 minute long video. In one take, I told a story that incorporated 110 disc golfers' names as puns into a story. And I assembled and disassembled a mock light while I was telling the story the whole time in one take. And that was the 9th take, by the way, that you see on YouTube. We got it on the 4th take, but there were a couple parts that were like kind of halting. And I said, let's keep recording. And so mind numbing, it was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. I was just so dead because I'd spent days and days and days prepping for that shoot, saying that thing over and over and over, right?
Yep.
And I got Simon Lazat's endorsement. I got the PDGA. I got these screenshots from Yuli and from the Pro Tour, and like,
yeah, all signs point to you look at your analytics and there's going to be lots of views. Like
I can force virality. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I'm, some of the things I've done could have, and some of the things I've done have, let's be honest. I'm really grateful for those things. But this one, it's like that Steve Martin quote, just be so, well, he uses more cuss words, but be so good that they can't ignore you. Right. And I was like, this project is empirically, objectively good. And it is going to go viral. It got like 2,000 or 3,000 views.
If you guys,
and I've always been mad at you guys about that.
If you guys have not seen that video, just go back and watch it. It is, let's say it again, it's the greatest disc golf story. What is it called?
The greatest disc golf story ever told.
Yeah. And is that on your Tyler Brickley account or is it DGA?
I think it's on both. I think I have a version of it on mine that maybe includes some bloopers. Well, and if you watch it, this is the point I was going to make. If you watch it, you would literally think to yourself, oh yeah, this should have, bare minimum in the disc golf world, right? It's got all your favorite names of all your favorite players and it's all worked into a story. And it's like, first off, it just really showcases your insane talents, right? So memorization and comedy and like wit. And it's just one of those things you look skills. I did miss that putt. That was too bad.
Oh, well,
that's what it was. If
dude,
I had made that putt,
dude,
we should have.
Can you imagine
that day?
We wouldn't even be having this conversation if you had made that putt.
It.
Run it back.
We're recording it again.
Run it back. That's the big. You overlooked that one thing, and that's what happens.
I needed to get good, bruh.
Yeah, dude. I'm right there with you. All right, on to the next segment.
It's story time, Boon Quonk.
It is story time, Boon Quonk. And for those of you guys who don't know what Boon Quonk means, the first half of that word boon is like blessing or a gift. And quonk is just something that I use as a term of endearment where it's like you're kind of a goofball, but a blessing at the same time. You're a blessing goof. So that Boon Quonk is what that means. So story time, Boon Quonk. This segment's all about listening to our guests' stories. It has to be disc golf related, first off. It can be disc golf content related, but not necessary. If you've got a funny story that is not content related, then I want to hear it.
All right.
Disc golf. We love it. We love disc golf.
The pressure. I don't know if this is objectively funny, but this is mine. So that's what you asked for. Okay.
This is what I want. This
might not be entertaining, like if someone was to tell the story in a stand-up sketch, but this is mine, top of my list. And that's what you asked for.
That is what yep.
My father-in-law, who has since passed, was my like disc golf buddy, right? And we did not have a traditional father-in-law, son-in-law relationship.
I was going to say, that's awesome.
Yeah, we were like friends, which was just
so cool.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And we would play multiple times a week, and we do that. We discovered it at the same time, and we got hooked at the same time, and we played together all the time. And we would do that thing where you play 18 holes, and then you're kind of like walking back to the car, and one of you, it could be either one of us, would say like, I could play a few more, like if you wanted. And then he's like, I could play a few more, and then you just like keep going. So the reason that this story sticks out to me is because he was always so like adamant about player 2, and he had been on it all evening about player 2. Like he throws a putt and misses, then he throws another one right after that and makes it. And he's like looking at me like, the second shot's always better. And I'm like, the second shot isn't better, Stu. It's because you had a practice shot. Try throwing your second shot as your first shot. It doesn't work. And he's like, that's not, it's because I threw this disc as my second shot. Throw that first shot next time, Stu. So we had been arguing, right? Back and forth. And my buddy had just the worst round of his life. It was just the three of us. He had the worst round of his life. And he was mad. Like you could tell, when somebody's like feeling it, you're like, don't talk to them because they're mad. Well, it was hole 12 at Oak Park. No, sorry, hole 13, doesn't matter, in Oak Park in Wichita. And my buddy hits first available. And he is, and I can see it on his face. And I'm just like turning away because I'm like, I am not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole because he is heightened right now. And
I feel like we've all been there. Like
we've
so
all
relatable.
We've all been there. We've all been in both.
Tough one, man.
We've all been on both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
Like and then the guy who's just like, it could not be getting any more frustrating. And then he smacks first available and he's just like about to bubble over. But who do you think was the guy that exploded? Not him. My father-in-law out of nowhere just yells at the guy. That was so stupid.
What?
And we all just look at him and we're like, where did that come from? And he said, you've got a great forehand. Like, why did you throw a backhand? You would have never hit that tree. I'm looking at my buddy like, and then he just dies laughing. And then we just laugh and laugh. He had to leave. My father-in-law had to leave at like hole 15 or something, right? So he goes home to mow because daylight was running out. We keep playing. My buddy got the course record to us. He shot 10 under. It was the first one of us that had ever shot 10 under. But it gave me a reason to call my father-in-law on the way home, right? Hey, so-and-so shot 10 under. That's crazy. And so tell me about the last few holes. And we talked for like 30 minutes. We laughed. We literally had a conversation about how proud he was of me and the way that I had dated Molly, my wife. And it was just like one of those perfect conversations, right?
Yeah.
After this night of him and I being like back and forth at each other about how stupid he was, about the idea of the second man, and then that's so stupid thing happened. And then he died the next day. Like it was the next day. Like that was the last time that I ever talked to him.
Wow.
This long conversation on the way home. That was just like the perfect, like again, where we laughed and we talked about like our relationship. And he like verbally talked about like, I'm so proud of you and the things that you're doing and blah, blah, blah. And I would have not called him had my buddy not shot 10 under par. And so that's all put in together in one just like crazy, like that was one of the best memories that I've ever had. But every single time we play that course, when we get to hole 13, all of us throw an honorary first shot at the "that's so stupid" tree to try and hit it as a way of honoring and remembering him. We always tell that story when we're together, but all of us take a first shot off that tee, trying to hit that first avail. It's, you can miss it, like it's close. It's about 40 feet away.
Tree, you don't think about it. You gotta be pretty accurate if you're going to actually try and hit a tree.
Exactly.
Like when you're not trying to hit it, that it's not as impressive. First time I'm hearing this story. Have I played this course? I mean, I've been to KC.
Well, this one's in Wichita. Hang on. Actually, I have something to show you too. 3 weeks later, after he passed, I got an ace with his putter. So this was the putter that my father-in-law used. It's an old soft Challenger, and me and his son split up his discs after he passed, right? As kind of because we both play. And so we wanted to kind of each have part of him to remember him by. And I was actually throwing this for a while and I got an ace with it in Derby. Like it was dark. It was hole 15 and it was dark. And it's like the basket is somewhere over there. And I'm throwing this over the pond and literally couldn't see it, but we just heard chains.
Dude.
And so we've got like our phones with our flashlights as we're running around the pond and run up and it's in there. But this was 3 weeks later. So it was just a weird, crazy time. I miss him almost every time that I go and play disc golf, but I'm so grateful to have so many fun memories. I could literally tell you stories about him for hours, but that last night before he passed, it was just the best. what a cool last conversation to have with somebody, you know?
For sure. And first off, I'm just thinking like no one's ever gonna tell a story on this podcast that's ever that cool ever again. So sorry to my future guests.
I made it up.
Yeah.
I used Chat GPT and I just asked for a good story and that's what I got. So
okay, literally don't mess with me, bro.
It's real.
Good gosh.
It's real.
I literally was thinking, I was the whole time, I'm like, Tyler, you would be the guy to do this to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like on guard the whole time, like, oh my gosh, this is almost like everything is happening. And I was like, no, you didn't. No way you came up with that.
No, it's real.
No way ChatGPT comes up with that crap.
There were so many crazy things. He got his first ace 1 month before he passed, and I was with him. And I have a video of that. And I just such a fun moment. So there was all these crazy things that happened right around that time that I think they're kind of more locked into my memory because he passed, obviously. But all that to say, if you have somebody that you love in your life and you have your favorite disc golf friend, like imagine the story of how you hung out with them yesterday and somebody had a funny moment. Like imagine, you know, what that would be like if then the next day they had passed. And
for
use
sure.
that as
it's just like
a mechanism to appreciate them in the moment, you know?
For sure. Something that I'm just thinking immediately is, you know, imagine we just lived every single day enjoying moments like that more so just because, I mean, we never think about, oh, is this the last time I'm going to play disc golf with my buddy? Is this going to be the last time I see my parents? Life would be so much better.
So what Mikey's saying is you need to constantly imagine people dying.
I kind of do that. I'm not going to lie. Is that weird?
Everyone that you're talking to while you're talking to them, just be like, yeah, but what if you died? Just imagining the ways that it could happen.
Wow. Don't imagine too hard.
And it's sweet. And it's sweet. And it's
and it's nice.
And it's a nice thing. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, it's just from the heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a little bit of whiplash here. Next segment.
Tech Talk.
Wait, what's the next segment?
The next segment.
Tell us about anyone that you know that has died.
Yes.
That you used to play disc golf with a lot. That should be on your show. So who's
segment.
The closest person to you that's ever died?
Yeah, I don't think everyone has that story yet. The way you were looking at me earlier, I feel like I might have one of those moments, or like people close to me. I feel like might have
coming.
That moment.
Yeah, we'll ask Josh in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's Josh. No, next segment is, if you know me well enough, you know that I am just ridiculously up to date with everything tech. I'm a very techie person. So I know every last AI program that's out there right now. I'm spending like $70 a month across all my different AI subscriptions right now. And I'm utilizing the heck out of it. So this segment is all about nerding out, thinking about disc golf, and what would be something that you would like to see the disc golf world have. A product, a tech product that you would like to see that does not currently exist. Maybe it exists in another sport. Maybe it's just an idea.
Well, we can't know what we don't know, but I will say FPV drone technology is in its infancy. I've had the fortune of working with a local pilot in Wichita a couple times, and I think that was one of the reasons that our Hurricane, do you remember the video where I compared a Hurricane to not an Innova destroyer because, you know, for legal reasons?
I have seen it.
I threw the Hurricane really well, and I threw the destroyer into bench.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, I guess the Hurricane flies better. You know, that was the idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was a good idea. But then we used my buddy who was flying FPV drones. We used him to chase these. And that was when there had only been like 1 or 2 videos total of FPV drones chasing discs. We were on the very front of that with that video. And I think that's one of the things that helped make that video go so well. We haven't been able to do as much as I'd like to with that. I got into it for a while piloting. It's just so expensive and time consuming that I was pretty quickly like, yeah, this is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
but I hope we have pilots, in our lives that can do this. So for me, the tech that could blow disc golf up, I think that's a huge area. A lot of people talk about stationary, like sky cams at all the big elite events. You got the guy up there on the podium who's giving us these cool views like the PGA or whatever. They're already incorporating drone footage into elite events, which I so appreciate. But when the technology could advance to the point that we could have live FPV drone feeds in events,
that would be
which again,
crazy.
It seems impossible, right? Because they're so freaking noisy.
I was going to say the noise
alone,
but they are
prohibitive.
Technically like making, I don't know if you've seen the new propellers that I think some people at, I forget, one of the smart schools came up with. They're like these infinity looking propellers, and they're supposed to be like way quieter and more efficient. So they with the same amount of like RPM, it creates more airflow. I'm not a super smart person, but basically it's just like more efficient propeller, and it's way quieter. So could happen. Could happen. As you were talking about, I was like, there's no way that's happening. And then I was like, wait a second.
I know, right?
It might actually.
All of these cool breakthroughs come from a what if. And so the question is, what if we could show FPV drone chases on lead card footage at elite events? And so then you start knocking down objections. Well, if noise could be taken care of in the next couple of years by different propellers, now we just have the main problem, which is the pilots have to be like best in the world, certified. And then what safeguards are in place for if it should ever cause a problem, like it
that's
hits a
definitely
disc
going to be the issue.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't seem possible, but
this probably, I don't know if you call this a hot take, but I don't think even the stuff that the drone pilots are doing currently is legal technically, because it involves flying over people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of stuff in the drone realm that, people don't follow every single rule, and you never know. But, it's interesting. So you bring this up. I've actually been doing the FPV drone deal for a bit. I put in about 600 hours into the simulator, and I've got my DJI FPV drone. I've been flying at my parents' house.
Nice.
They've got like 104 acres, so I've been just ripping, bro.
Yeah.
It is fun. But all that to say, I would like to see one shots of courses, like fly through in one take all the way through a course.
Yep.
I think that'd be sick. Something like kind of nice and smooth all the way through.
Yep.
And you get to see the full course in one take. The thing I like about FPV drones, if you're a good pilot, is it can be one fluid fly through. You could even follow some of those lines that the disc would take. And so it gives you kind of a different perspective of those different holes. And I think at this point, the only issue is the signal gets weak the further into the woods you go. So this one shot idea, probably not doable until they have, of course, DJI is going to come out with some transmission that at some point is just perfect throughout all the trees. But at this point, it's not quite ready to do the full 18 holes. You could probably do 4 holes at a time.
Have you ever gotten into the tiny whoop class? That's the thing that I got into the most, cool. Was the whoop class. And when I was doing the simulators, I had the Drone Racing League simulator, but I didn't spend a ton of time in there. I spent most of my time in a tiny whoop. Thank you. Tiny whoop. These tiny whoops, I will tell you 2 things. Playing tag and playing hide and go seek with my kids in the house with a tiny whoop is some of the most fun that I have ever had as an adult. And that's definitely the thing that I got the best at flying.
Dude, I got to have kids, bro, just for that.
I really thought you were about to say, I got to get into tiny whoop. You're like, I've got to get into making kids.
No, like,
so
I know, like, I'll do the
whoop.
tiny whoop so fast if I can play tag, bro. That's like the coolest thing ever. Like, I was really thinking, like, my wife's probably not going to be down for that, but
no.
if we had kids,
Yeah,
100%.
They've got the little, they've got the little guards on the blades, and they're so tiny you can literally run them into people and they don't hurt. But
Well, I'll just borrow Josh's kids. Yeah, he won't mind.
Perfect.
I'll play tag with them, and if they get hurt, he probably has insurance, so it should be fine.
I hear them screaming, so I know it's probably some of the most fun they've had too. But the rules are you can't close any doors if you go into the room to hide.
Yep.
You have to leave all the doors open. And so then it's like something out of a movie because I'm just like stalking around, like looking under the bed.
This idea is just so sick. I love this.
I'm just dying laughing in my goggles, but then they're all running around the house and I'm just literally trying to run around and smack them.
I love that.
It's so fun.
Wow. Yeah, you just unlocked something in me that I now feel like I have to experience.
Dude, you're like $75 to $100 away from doing this because you already have a controller, you already have the headset.
Well, sure, except no kids still.
Oh yeah. That's going to be more.
So how much more do you have to add to that? What do they say? Like each kid is a cost over their 18 years in the house, like 100,000.
Don't tell me that. Yeah, don't tell me that number.
It depends on how much. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Just
don't be that parent at the end of 18 years. It's like, I spent $10,000 on my kid in 18 years.
If you're into the economy amount of loving your kids, it's still gonna
it's
be
more
tens of
affordable.
thousands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I totally get that. You got a budget. What am I going to cut my entertainment budget? I don't think so.
No. No.
Kids stay at home. I'm going to go play disc golf.
Some things are static variables, fast food and entertainment. No, those are
that's
never change.
Never.
How much you spend on my kids? Yeah, that could fluctuate based on where we're at.
No, that's smart. I think that's wise. And that's why I like being friends with you, Tyler. You have some wise things to teach the world. So that's good. That's it, guys. Let's get into our final segment to close things out, introducing our wonderful guest, Tyler. First off, Tyler, I'm going to do the old, what do you got going on? What should people go? This is your time to be like, hey, I know you already said a few times, check out my TikTok and whatnot, but hey, what's something that we can point the people to that watch this, that made it to the end, something that you're passionate about?
Made it to the end, betterhelp.com, because you probably need a therapist. If you made it to the end of this entire episode, oh my gosh.
You need BetterHelp.
All right, but seriously, discgolf.com. Please go support DGA's content because even if you're main another brand or whatever, I'm always trying to support, people like Jonathan and y'all and everybody who's making content. Disc golf is still small enough that we all really feel it when you stop by and say, hey, great video. We really feel it and it really means a lot. So please take a second to do that.
Yes.
If you want to follow me, I do so much and it's exhausting. Like what you said, all these different ideas and whatever. But the thing that I'm currently excited about right now today is the kindness mob.
Get in on it. Everybody listening. It's literally you go and you just raid people with positive comments. Tyler picks someone and he's like, oh, this person doesn't have any comments on this video.
Well, and now it's nominations. I did for the first 4 or 5 back in January. This all started right at the beginning of January. And now people are nominating accounts constantly. So I just kind of go through and pick one from the nominations. So if you see somebody online on TikTok who they don't have a lot of comments, but the video's nice and you're like, oh, this person could use some kindness, then you can come nominate them.
I like it. I relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of people do because a couple of your videos really popped off and doing well. All right, Tyler, pick a number between 1 and 10 for
7.
A chance to win $100.
That's not real. This show's only been going on 1 episode. It doesn't have that kind of budget. I picked 7.
Holy crap, dude. Almost. But I can't tell you. Can't tell you.
Please tell me that it's not real And that
No, it was real.
No guest is ever going to win it, but it's always going to be like, you're always going to say, oh my gosh, like you were right on the number.